Press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from Sebastian Fitness Solutions. Have you ever looked at an instructional video for squats and wondered why, no matter how hard you try, you just can't seem to get your squat to look exactly like that? Have you spent countless sessions chasing after the perfect squat only to find that you've never quite been able to get there? Well, in today's video, I'm going to talk about squats and why different people's squats look so different. Coming right up. What is up, everybody? This is Sebastian from Sebastian Fitness Solutions, coming to you from the wonderful facility at YFC IC Colony. Now, diving into the topic of today's video, let me start by saying that there is no such thing as a perfect squat. There is, however, the perfect squat for you. And this is because no two people are built the same. Between two people, there can be vast differences in individual joint mobility as well as structural and anatomical differences between them, which includes not only differences in limb length and proportions, but also the shape of specific joint and bone structures, like in this case, the pelvis and the femur. To show you what I mean, here are a few comparison images. In the first case, here you see two different pelvises of the same size, but a clear difference in the space of the joint. Now, will that change how the respective squats would look like? Absolutely. In this case, here again you see two different pelvises with clearly different shapes. Depending on the shape there could actually be some real bone getting in the way of somebody and restricting their movement, and no amount of mobility work could fix that. Now, in this case again, in image number 3, we see two pelvises where there is a difference in where the acetabular cavity, that is the hip socket where the femur bone attaches, points to. So in one case, you have one pointing straight out to the side, whereas the other points kind of down and forward. Will that affect your biomechanics? Absolutely. And all of this is just differences in pelvis alone. If you look at the femur, that is the upper leg bone, you'll see vast differences there as well. Once again, let's have a comparison. In this case, here you see the femur on the left point to the side, whereas the other one points at an angle kind of upwards. Now, in this other image here, you see in this case the ball of the ball and socket joint of one of them is longer than the other. So will that impact how the squat ultimately looks like? Definitely it would. In this case over here, where we see one attaches to the hip socket kind of horizontally from the side, whereas the other one attaches at an angle inward. Now, each of these structural differences will certainly have a bearing on how your body moves and therefore ultimately how your squat form would look like. And again, we are only factoring the individual joints and bones here, and that too just the pelvis and the femur. If you look at the body as a whole and your overall relative proportions, you'll see massive differences in squat form with changes in your overall proportions. Take, for example, here's a comparison image of what happens if you have a long torso and short femurs versus a short torso and long femurs. As you can see, a person with a long torso and short femurs can hit parallel with very little forward lean of his upper body, whereas the short torso and long femur guy is lean far more forward to hit that exact same depth. Now, here you see image number 2. Here's another comparison where this time you have someone with long femurs and short tibias, tibia being the lower leg bone, where you see the torso collapsed forward to hit parallel, versus someone with short femurs and long tibias where you're practically upright when hitting that exact same depth. By the way, now's a good time to mention this really cool website that gives you a model and actually allows you to manipulate different variables and different body part lengths, stance width, bar position, joint range of motion, etc., and see its outcome on what the squat would ultimately look like. You can even plug in your own measurements and kind of sort of get a model and see what your squat would ultimately look like based on your proportions and variables that are relative to you. This site is called mysquatmechanics.com. I'll drop a link to it in the description box below. Check it out. And then, of course, there's the factor of individual joint mobility, which also influences squat form. Now, while you can and should do something to improve joint mobility, if that's an issue, more often than not, that's not the real bigger player here. The bigger player here are the structural differences basically, and there's nothing you can do about that, frankly. So the real lesson here is that no two people squat the same, because no two people are built the same. And for you to look at some textbook definition of what a squat should look like, or what a perfect squat should look like, and then bend over backwards to try and replicate that is not only pointless, but can take you away from actually making you progress in the lift, and in many cases can actually hurt you if you try to force your body to move in ways it's just simply not built to move in. So to sum up this whole video, there is no one single perfect squat form that encompasses or applies to everyone. However, what does exist is the perfect squat form for you, your body, your biomechanics. And while I will be doing a separate video showing you how to squat and how to adjust the squat as per your body, the simplest piece of advice, frankly, that I can give you will be that you can apply right now to the squat is to find and to squat in the most comfortable way that allows you to meet the following criteria. Number 1, keeping your heels planted on the floor throughout the movement. Number 2, keeping your spine neutral and tight throughout the lift. Number 3, sit as deep as you can while ensuring the above 2. Most importantly though, is to find the form that allows you to ensure each of the above 3 in the most comfortable way possible. Again, I will be covering each of these in detail in future videos, but for now, as long as you're able to accomplish each of those 3 factors that I mentioned before, then your squat form is fine, regardless of whether or not it looks like the form that you see in the textbook or in the instructional video that you watch. Alright guys, that's the video for you. If you found this video informative, and I hope you have, then please give it a thumbs up and share this video. Help spread the word, help spread the knowledge so others can understand and can progress in their squats rather than wasting time and grinding their gears trying to achieve that one perfect squat that they think is perfect in their minds. And lastly, if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see all of you guys in that next video. But until next time, keep learning, keep growing. Hey, thank you for watching that video. Don't forget to hit that like button and to subscribe. Also, head over to the description box below for a link to download my free ebook, The 9 Habits to Successfully Build Muscle. Go ahead and grab it. And lastly, to watch another video, click right over here.